Welcome back, squad. We are back. Buy, sell, hold, week 5. Let's go. Welcome back, squad. Sorry I've been out of town / someone broke my laptop. That someone was me. Let's just jump in and move on. Up first, we'll start with tight ends. I've been monitoring this guy for a bit of a hot minute now, since probably the beginning of the year, Mason Taylor, and I think he's a buy. And unless you're in a super deep league, I would say just pick him up, because really you probably won't have to buy him most of the time. In week 4, he had a 26% target share. He had a 33% first read target share. Now he's only averaging 4 targets a game this season, but there's a couple of things I like. Over the past 2 games, he had 6 targets and 7 targets, which is great. And he's been on the field over 70% of the time in every single game he's played this year. Now, what scares me is he's on the Jets, and Justin Fields looks like a pile of hot garbage when he plays. But this team also isn't good. So Garrett Wilson is the one. I'm not trying to say he's going to top Garrett Wilson. Of course not. But he is the 2 in my opinion, other than maybe Breece Hall. There is no number 2 wideout here. It's like Allen Lazard or I don't even know who it would be. So I'm going with Mason Taylor. Go buy him. Go pick him up off waivers. Super cheap. If he sucks, you just drop him back again. Big deal. Up next, this guy is a sell at tight end, which pains me because I really like him. It's Dalton Kincaid. He has a 48% snap share this season. Last week, he had 37% and he had 2 targets. Luckily, one was a touchdown, which worked out well for him. But man, it is hard to trust it when it's a 3-headed committee in Buffalo at tight end. I like him a lot, and if there's an injury, I think that would be even better for his situation, but you can't bank on that necessarily. Knox is still there. That new rookie they have, Jackson Cobble is there. They just love all their tight ends, and that's just kind of how it is. It's just really hard to trust him. I like the kid. I think he's great, but if you can sell him for anything somewhat more consistent, someone more on the field, I would probably do that. So sadly, I'm selling Dalton Kincaid. Up next at tight end, he's still a hold for me because it's like, what else are you going to do with him? It's Brock Bowers. He's still top 5 in targets, and Geno looks like a wet noodle when he throws the ball, which is concerning. But you can't really sell him because you're not going to get someone better at this point. You just kind of got to hold and wait. He had that knee injury, and I think he's still recovering from it. And I don't really know what you're going to sell him for. Up next, he's a sell, Mark Andrews. He averages 4.5 targets a game. Lamar just went down with a hamstring injury. Isaiah likely just came back. There's just a few things that keep happening that just make me like him less and less and less and less. Plus, the first 2 games of the season, which were concerning. Once likely came back this past week. His snap share dropped below 60%, which is concerning, but more where I think it will be with likely still here. And with Lamar out, all this stuff, I would sell him while you can. He's had a couple boom games, so maybe that's nice. You can make the case that Cooper Rush is Lamar Jackson. Haha. And the last tight end, he is also a sell, Travis Kelce. He's averaging 5.5 targets a game this season. All tight ends, I feel like, are terrible this year. The things that concern me the most, Worthy came back this last week. Rashee Rice comes back in 2 weeks, which is even scarier to me. I'm concerned about him. Kind of have been. He's old. He's in love. That's not a concern. That's just like a thing. So I'm pretty out on Kelce. Moving on to running backs. My first running back is a sell as well. It's Tony Pollard. Seems a bit obvious. I kind of like to reverse engineer or reframe how I think about buy, sell, hold with snap share. So Tony Pollard is first in snap share at running back. He has an 89% snap share, which is crazy good. Tajay Spears is coming back next week, which will eat into his role just to some degree, even if it's a little bit. And when I reframe it, when I think about it differently, I think about, do I see him improving upon where he is now? Do I see him getting more snaps, more touches, more fantasy points? And fantasy points is a little bit too hard to predict. Maybe he gets more fantasy points. I don't know. But snap share, do I think he gets more than 90% of the snaps? No, I do not. I think best case, it drops to 80. Best case, if Tajay plays 10% of the snaps, maybe in the first week. But I don't think his snaps are going to improve. I don't think his touches are going to improve. Ergo, I don't think he will be on the field. You can't score points when you're not on the field. Big brain moment. Sell Tony Pollard. Similar concept with this next guy. He's a bit of a sell/hold, Travis Etienne. Now, he looks really good on paper, and he's still the guy. He's still leading this backfield, but he's averaging around a 60% snap share. But again, with these 3 running backs, I don't see him getting more than that. I don't see him bumping up to 80 or 75 or even 70 consistently, unless there's an injury. Tootin is still there. They really like Allen for some reason, which is fine, I guess. So I don't see him improving upon where he's at. He doesn't catch passes. So if you could sell him for someone who gets more snap share, I would do that. ETN's still really good. But if I could sell him for someone better or more consistent, I will. And moving on to wide receivers, this guy is a huge buy for me. And he has been since the beginning of the year, Jacoby Myers. He is 4th in the league at wideouts in snap share percentage. He averages 8.3 targets a game. He's going to improve upon where he's at. He is the team leader in targets, target share, snap share, blah, 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 blah. He is the guy in the Raiders offense. I do think better days are ahead for him. I think he's going to get into the end zone at some point. He has to, right? I guess they have to score first, but I still feel pretty good about him based off his targets and that he's on the field a ton. The Raiders are throwing a lot more with Geno, which is good. Yeah, Genty's there. He might take away some of the goal line touchdown whatever work, but still fairly decently confident that you can get Myers at a pretty good price right now for where he's at. So I'd go buy Jacoby Myers. Up next, this one's tough for me. I wouldn't say I'm buying him, but you can't sell him right now. It's Ladd McConkey, and I think you just have to hold him and just wait. I just don't super trust him anymore, which is crazy. He's on the field, like he's playing a good amount. He has an 87% snap share, but there's a lot of mouths to feed. And that's not to say he can't bounce back, but we've seen multiple weeks of inconsistency. So you could buy him at a pretty cheap price and risk it. If you have him, I think you just have to hold him and wait and put him on your bench, which is crazy. I think he will get more involved, I do, but it's how much risk are you willing to take on with buying him? So holding if you have him. If you really want to risk it, you could buy him, but don't feel great about it. And then last but not least, he's top 8 in targets at wide receiver this season. You hold him to the moon. You hold him to the moon, and then you take him there and you say thank you in your moon boots. Yeah, you know. You already know. We'll talk to you later.